Today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Tailored Expressions Liquid Watercolor. This is a collection of 12 colors plus a shimmer iridescent, and these match the current ink and cardstock collection. I have pre-swatches so I can show you the variations of the colors. We got Oreo, chocolate truffle, blue corn, pea pod, lemon meringue, candy corn, guava, cherry pop, lollipop, jelly donut, plum punch, cookie monster, and the shimmer, which is this beautiful iridescent color. I love having a collection where everything matches, so I have pre-stamped some of the colors to show you how well these watercolors match up with the Tailored Expression inks. Also wanted to show you how well the cardstock matches. Here with Jelly Donut, I have layered that watercolor, and then on the side I had feathered out, and you can see how pretty that cardstock is against that watercolor and how well it matches. I did this also with the pea pod, and you can see how well that coordinates. So creating your projects will be super easy. Now I'm going to demonstrate how fun and how easy it is to color with these liquid watercolors. I am using blue corn, just doing a quick wash. You saw I have one drop on my palette there and water. So these are going to go a long way. Now I'm going to do a blend, and I personally color a lot with watercolor, and I like to create different colors. So I am mixing lemon meringue with pea pod, and then adding a little bit of shimmer on the other side. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet and just tap onto that watercolor. I'm going to show you this new color. It's between an olive You could easily create ombre or multicolored petals by placing the different droplets of the color onto your palette on how you want them. So I want to show you the color here, the mix. You can add a little brown to make it a little more olive. Here are the two colors separate by themselves, so you can see that color. Now I want to show you how well these blend on paper. I'm going to start with a drop of the plum punch, and we're going to go to the other color extreme and go to Cookie Monster. So these are two very different shades that we're going to mix on the paper. You'll see how easy this is. We're going to grab just a bit of the plum punch and do a wash, clean off our brush, and then we're going to do a wash of the Cookie Monster on the bottom and blend up and mixing those two together. Once I grab the plum punch, I'm coming back down and then getting some more Cookie Monster. Really love how well those mixed. It created that medium shade right in the center. I cleaned my brush, and I want to show you how well you can go from color to color. I went back to that olive tone. These are highly pigmented. However, you can still just clean off your brush very easily and move to the next color. Now I want to show you these liquid watercolors in action. I have re-inked my palette. You could usually use them dry, but I wanted to have a little more of a wet effect. So we're adding water to the chocolate truffle, and we're adding a wash of that chocolate truffle onto the outer part of the flowers. So you see, I am not getting more liquid color on my brush. I was simply dragging it from the first set. I'm going to add a little more onto the other side and just adding a quick wash all around these flowers and allowing that to dry. Now I'm going to create a new shade. I wanted a darker green, so I mixed pea pod, lemon meringue, and chocolate truffle on my palette. and I am just adding the darker color details onto the inner part of my leaves and my branch. Once that's dried just a bit, I came back in, grabbed some more of that custom color. Now, we're going to move on to coloring these flowers. I am doing a very wet brush onto that cherry pop. You see I added some more water to the cherry pop on the palette and very roughly just colored over on those flowers. Dried my brush a bit and grabbing some more of that cherry pop and just doing an outline on the inner part of those flowers. This isn't any different than doing shading with your markers. You're just doing it with watercolors. Give it a little bit of dry. I'm going to move on to the petals. Grab some more of that cherry pop, added a spritz of water to the palette, and again roughly dabbed onto the petals. To allow this to dry, I am creating a new shade of an olive green to finish coloring those leaves, and this gives my petals some time to dry. Watercolor is all about layering. And clean off my brush, go back to that cherry pop and keep layering over and over. To finish up, I am using lemon meringue onto the center of those flowers. I'm gonna add some shimmer onto the flower. You can use this like Wink of Stella and just dab some of the shimmer iridescent onto your flower, or you can mix it within the watercolor to create an iridescent. So I'm adding a little bit to my brush and then just sprinkling over and then dabbing over my lemon meringue on the center of those flowers. Now I'm going to make a card with my watercolor project. I'm going to trim the edges of this watercolor panel. I'm going to be using lemon meringue cardstock. I'm going to very roughly place my colored panel over the cardstock on how I want it to be laid out. Using some adhesive, I'm adding it to the back, and then with some gold thread, I'm going to create a little knot onto the side just to give it a little embellishment. We're going to create a knot and place that over our coordinating cardstock, which matches the center of my flowers. Now I'm going to add the sentiment from Spring Florals, and I am stamping this with the Oreo. The sentiment is just a note, and there is our finished card panel. Thank you so much for joining me today with the introduction of Tailored Expressions liquid watercolors. These are available on the Tailored Expression website.